Hello everyone and welcome to Bourbon Bites Whiskey Reviews with an 80s twist, but today there's even more of a twist because as you saw in the title, as you saw in the thumbnail, we are doing Scotch tonight. It's been a minute since we've done a Scotch stream. Those of you that are regulars know that I love Scotch. I'm first and foremost a bourbon lover, an American whiskey lover, but thanks to some very generous friends, I've had a chance to explore Scotch. I used to say I dabbled in Scotch, but now I feel like I can consider myself a Scotch fan. And tonight, I had a very special flight sent to me by my friend, Don Nishida, who is here in the chat. He says, who sends a peated Scotch to a bourbon guy? Well, you obviously do, but don't worry, I am very excited. Those of you that, like I said, I've been watching the channel for a while. I've done a lot of reviews of these Laphroaig Cairdeas releases, but never done them all together. So that's what we're doing tonight. We are tasting 7 different expressions of Laphroaig Cairdeas, ranging from 2018 all the way to 2024 with the latest release. So I'm really excited. Many of these I've not had. Some of them are some of my absolute favorite Scotch whiskeys. So tonight is going to be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to it. Like I said, some of these, especially that PX Sherry Cask was one of my favorites. I think, if not, it was definitely my favorite Scotch of the year when it came out, but it may have been one of my favorites of the year. So very excited to revisit that one and taste through some new ones tonight. So thank y'all for tuning in. First of all, shout out to Sugar Kitty for becoming the newest Bite Club member, which is the way to support the channel here on YouTube. You get access to some fun emojis and just another way to support the channel along with Patreon, Super Chats. Y'all know the drill. So thank you for Sugar Kitty for joining us there and Patreon. Fred said, nailed it, just walked in the door. Good timing, great timing. Clifton needs to drink more Scotch. I do. I actually haven't bought Scotch in a while. I used to buy it, not equally to bourbon. I still obviously buy bourbon more frequently, but I used to buy it more often. So maybe this will inspire me to go out and explore more. We have Squirrely Tea in the chat. Cheers to you, Todd. 4-Leaf Whiskey. What's up, Stacy? Good to see you. Donnie is here, the Linux cat, Adam, and yeah, if you're here, say hello. I know a few people couldn't make it that wanted to watch this, so hope you enjoy the replay. Let me know in the comments what your favorite of the night was. I'll definitely, I think I'm gonna try to rank these, maybe not all of them, but maybe have like a favorite and then like a least favorite. But not that it's least favorite is bad, but that's kind of what I'm thinking. We'll see how it goes. We'll see how we get through 7 different whiskeys, which should be fun, but also I'm a bit intimidated. Audio issues, wrong mic. Uh-oh, I hope not. Let me check. I can. Thanks for checking. It says it's the correct mic. I turned it up a little bit. Let me know if that's a little bit better, Donnie. Yeah, everything should be normal, so good to know. Todd is the newest Bite Club member. Welcome to the Bite Club, Todd. Thank you for all your support across all platforms. I appreciate it. Don says he knows what his favorite is. All right, we'll save it. We'll find out as we taste through. I'd like to know as well, but I don't want to be influenced, right? But if you guys have had these, let me know your favorite. No, I guess Don, you can share your favorite too. I don't know. It's not going to influence me either way, but I'm excited. I know what I think is going to be my favorite, but yeah, so I did want to start. So these are all high proof. So I have the proofs of each of them here. One of them is no, they're all cask strength, I believe. So I thought I would start with a 10-year cask strength, just regular Laphroaig 10-year. I wanted to start with something to set my palate to expect what a typical Laphroaig tastes like at cask strength. So we're gonna start with this. We're actually gonna have 8 whiskeys tonight. This could be a problem. We'll see. Oh, apparently the audio cut out. Oh, sorry. I don't know. Nothing's changed. I have not changed anything at all. Maybe a loose cable? I don't know. I don't want to touch it and mess anything up. So if it keeps happening, let me know. All right. So we're going to, like I said, start with just the 10-year. Now, these are all, some of them are age dated, but not all of them are. So I think this is the closest thing to compare them to, just a cask strength. This one's coming in at 56.5% ABV. So, and this is a December 2021 batch. This is my first whiskey of the day, so jumping right into the cask strength. Let's see how it goes. Let's try it. Cheers. Yeah, very classic Laphroaig. Liking the higher proof though. Laphroaig was one of the hardest scotches for me to get into, and I got into other peated scotches way before Laphroaig. Like, like I love Port Charlotte. I love the Ardbeg releases. You can see I have quite a few Ardbegs back there. Laphroaig, it took me a minute to get into, and I think it wasn't until these Càirdeas releases that I really appreciated what they do. So their standard release isn't really for me. I don't typically buy it very often, but these I try to buy it every single year because everyone is unique and they're all special in their own way. If you're not familiar, Càirdeas is a, like I said, annual release from Laphroaig. It actually, the word Càirdeas means friendship in Gaelic. And they kind of release this every year towards the Friends of Lagavulin, which are their supporters. Yeah, so it's actually, the name was suggested by a former distillery manager's grandmother, apparently. So gotta love that. So yeah, they've been doing it since 2008, actually. So we don't have the first 10 years here, unfortunately. I'm sure those bottles are long gone. But we have 2018 all the way through 2024. So I'm really excited to taste through and find out my favorite. Don said standard Laphroaig and Ardbeg are rough. I agree. I can't tell you the last time I bought either of those standard releases, but the special releases really, really shine. And they're some of the best I have. Fred said I've only had one Càirdeas, the most recent Cask Favorites. I enjoyed it. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, well, I'm excited to try taste through some of these other ones. Don't mess with Granny. Todd says, when I was in Scotland at the distillery, we asked the guy behind the tasting bar which bottle we could go home with. Out of 12, we should go home with. Out of 12 offerings, he said the Càirdeas hands down. Yeah, I can see why. It's a favorite of mine. I'm sure it's probably a favorite of someone at the distillery as well. So usually with these releases, they're finished with unique casks that are, some of them are finished in the cask, but some of them are matured in that cask exclusively. So I have the pages filled up for each of these to kind of walk us through them and kind of learn a little bit about what makes each of them unique. But glad I setting my palate with the 10 cask. I think it definitely lets me know the base so I can look for the nuances of each of these releases. So I'm excited. Shall we get started? We have, like I said, we have seven Càirdeas releases to go through. We should probably go ahead and get started. So the first one is the oldest. This is the 2018 release. This was a Fino cask. Now, this one I can't find very much info on because it's so old. I can only find third-party reviews. I can't. Every other one of these has an official page, like an official Laphroaig page. This one, however, does not because it is so old. But what I can find online, I will share with you all. It looks like this one comes in at 51.8% ABV. The label was a little bit different. If you look at my thumbnail, this one was like a clear bottle. Like the rest of these are these green bottles, which are typical you see as Laphroaig. This one actually was a clear bottle, so it's interesting that they decided to switch to the green one later on. Let's see if we have any more info about here. It says, let's see, mature in first fill ex bourbon cask and finished in ex Fino casks, bottled at 51.8% ABV. Now, Fino casks, I honestly didn't know what those were. So Fino is the lightest of sherries. So it's a sherry wine cask. But it says it must contain no more than 5 grams of residual sugar per liter. Its alcohol content is 15 to 17% by volume. So it's going to be a very light sherry flavor, I imagine, based on that note alone. But let's find out. I will say color-wise, it is relatively light. I mean, the Warehouse one, which is the 2022, seems to be the lightest of them all. But this is definitely very light in color. So I'm going to pour just like a little bit over half the bottle. I'll be drinking these on the after party as well, so don't worry, I'm not going to try to chug them all right now. By the way, if you guys want to get in on the after party, you can join Patreon at patreon.com/bourbonbites. For as little as $2 a month, you can support the channel, but for the $10 tier, you get access to our weekly hangout after every live stream, and our monthly movie night, which we're coming up in February, so we're going to have to do a rom-com or something romance-related for our retro movies. Preferably from the 80s, but we kind of have some wiggle room there, so get y'all suggestions in. All right, so nose on this one, the Fino cask. Let me just quickly recalibrate myself with the palate of the 10-year. Yeah, the peat is like there, but it's not like blowing me away on the nose. It's definitely on the palate for sure, for the regular 10-year. But going to the ex Fino cask, there's a bit of a earthy quality to it, but that's different than like the peat. It's almost, it kind of reminds me of like, do I say like wheatgrass? I'm just trying to think. It's like a certain grass that's kind of put into smoothies a lot, and I've tried like a shot of it on its own. A little bit bitter of a grass, but there's some sweetness. Almost not even just that. Maybe some chives, like a green onion. There's like that note when I'm saying earthy. It does smell sweet though. It smells sweeter than the standard Laphroaig 10. Yeah, so this one, everyone else I'll have more information on. This one, I literally am limited to what I can find online about this one. It was aged in warehouses 8 and 10, if that helps anyone. But yeah, let's go and go for a taste. The nose, I like it. It's giving it's giving grassy, but let's give it a taste. Cheers. Hmm. Okay. It's surprisingly light. I mean, there's definitely an additional cask influence that's beyond just the bourbon cask. I think it brings a richness. It's definitely more of a mouthfeel. Has a bit more richness to it. I don't get as much of that like grassy flavor. It does still kind of remind me of like wheat or um like a, I don't want to say like a barnyard because like that's always like, that means different things to different people. But it almost does have like that. So you know, like okay, this is just me being a weird Southern kid. I would sometimes eat a straw of hay, like, and they're a little bit sweet. I was a weirdo. I'm sorry. My sister had horses, so I was always just at the horse place. It wasn't a farm. It was like a stable. There, that's the word. But I would sometimes chew on the dried grass. So it does kind of have a little bit of that sweetness, but this palate is so much more mellow and well-rounded. I will say I see Don's comment, not as sweet as the nose, agreed. Dry on the finish, agree to that as well. It does do a bit of a mouth-numbing thing. Even though this one is coming in lower proof than the cask strength, it does stick to the back of the palate for sure. I like it. Now it's the first one I've tried of the Càirdeas that I've tried so far. If we can only go up from here, that's great. But yeah, it's good. I think the cask itself isn't necessarily giving me certain flavors. I mean, I could say that there is some little bit of raisin, but it's so light that I think overall it's just the depth of the whiskey is what's shining through. Now maybe it's just select barrels that they used for this, or it's the actual Fino cask. I don't know, but it's a really balanced, really well, yeah, well done whiskey. Fun place to start. So Zoe said sounds like a setup for Yo Mama Joe. Your car just so old. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Donnie, thank you for the link for Patreon. I always forget to put in the description of the video because I'm quickly putting out my description. I just literally copy and pasted from the Cars website today. I do want to go back through a lot of my recent live streams and put chapter markers. Do y'all like when I do that? It does take me time to go through and like rewatch things, but I feel like it's helpful if we're just trying to skim through to find my thoughts on one whiskey. So if y'all like that, I'll keep doing it. If not, maybe I'll stop putting the effort into it because I've been really lazy with it lately. Joseph Brazo, what the hell are you doing here? And how can you drink all scotch? Well, it's been a minute since we've done it here. We're doing it here on the channel. Cheers, Joseph. Good to see you. Sure, you did make it. Oh, awesome. I was just saying some people were watching the replay, so good to see you here. Donnie says he likes the chapter markers. Okay, good. Good to know. Yeah, so let's move on. That was the 2018 release. We got all the way through 2024 to get through. We're going to see if we can do it within the hour. But let's keep it moving. I'm going to go back and find out my favorites and rank them a bit. Let's go ahead and move on to the 2019 release. Now, this one is the Càirdeas Triple Wood, which is sample number 5 from Don. Now, this one I do have a page with some info on it. Let's see. Well, actually, I don't have a page, but I do have a short description written on the Càirdeas website. It says triple the flavor. The 2019 Càirdeas Triple Wood cask strength is special triple maturation. First matured in ex-bourbon cask, then in quarter casks, and finally in European oak cask, which previously held Oloroso sherry. So this one's really diving into different, I wasn't not even say finishes, because it's like quarter casks are obviously that. They're a quarter of the size of a barrel. So we see a lot in American whiskey, those smaller barrels really impact the whiskey so much with that oak flavor. Sometimes people like it, sometimes people don't. I do know Laphroaig had a quarter cask release by itself that I was fortunate enough to try. I really like that one, so I'm excited to try this one. I don't think I've ever had this one in the wild. I think this one was before I really got into Càirdeas. Fred says, take quick notes on the times when you switch topics. Oh, that's true. Well, sometimes when I have like the little lower third that I can pop up, I can use that as my like skimming. Sometimes I watch it on like 2 times speed to do it, but it really doesn't take too much time. But or yeah, you guys, you guys do. I do have like my time code here, so that's a good point. Sure, he said I'm gonna fade soon though. I do need that catnap. I love the Cask Favorites as something off profile. Warehouse one was okay, but the port was better. Well, we'll see. I'm gonna go through and rank them as well. So this one I'm expecting to not. It does have the Oloroso sherry, but that's not one of the sweeter sherries. That's more of the dry, drier sherries. So I think this one's gonna be all on the oak. At least what I'm assuming based on the name. And I do know that this triple oak or the triple wood is a part of the newest release, which is the Cask Favorite. Oh, interesting. It wood, but it's giving like a green wood. Like I always say, like a fresh. Like if you break a branch like a new tree and it's like green and it doesn't quite snap, it kind of gets stringy. You know that smell. That's what it smells like on the nose. It's like a newer wood. Definitely not like an older tree or anything. A little bit like sap, little tree sap. The smoke is there, but it's definitely hidden behind that sappy kind of note. Hmm. I'm interested. I am looking at this description here on their website. It says, we recommend you add twice as much water as whiskey to enjoy this punchy dram. So you're saying if I put like an ounce of whiskey, you would put 2 ounces of water? Is that normal? I feel like I've heard people order whiskey and water, but I didn't know that was like a thing. I thought it was like soda, or like sparkling water. I don't know. Is that weird? To me, that's weird. 2 ounces of water, 1 ounce of whiskey. I don't know. You do you, but I've never really done that. Sugar Kitty says quarter cask does really amp it up. It's younger, but that's not a bad thing. Yeah, it definitely has the green note. But overall, not bad. It does smell sweet, similar to that one. Let's go for a taste. Cheers. Mmm. Oh yeah. That one's drying too on the end, but and this one, by the way, this one's 59.5%. So it's a pretty drastic jump in proof, and I can tell that on the palate. Because that finish is pretty intense. It finishes with smoke, but up in the front and middle palate, it is definitely the oak is shining through, and not in that young way. It actually has a really nice, not like necessarily old oak note, but there's definitely it doesn't taste like that green note that I got on the nose, which I'm thankful for because I don't typically like that note. No, a lot of times reminds me of a craft whiskey, but this one it's just on the nose, on the palate. I like it a lot better. This is really nice. Yeah, it has a bit of a honey note, but it's like a savory honey. It's like you like have a honey rubbed like ham or something. Like it's like it has like a meatiness to it that I think is coming from. Sorry, and that's meaty, not meaty. But it's like got that savoriness that's coming from the smoke of the peated scotch. But it has a bit of like a honey, kind of like a floral element to it. That's interesting. I didn't expect to like this one that much, but so far that one definitely beats the Fino for me personally. Everyone's gonna have a different opinion, but to me, that extra proof and that oak impact really help it out. And as someone that loves bourbon, I'm always looking for those unique woody, oaky notes, and this one brings it. So I really appreciate that. Um, Fred says, I mean, highballs are a thing. That is true. But yeah, it is interesting. Sugar Tea says pass on the 2 ounces of water. Yeah, that's true. Very long finish as well. Yeah, I really like this one. I'm excited to see once I try them all how it stands up. So let's keep it moving. I mean, I don't want to slow down. I want to keep working my way through these, but I'll go back and revisit them. So don't worry, you can stick around for that. So next up is 2020. Oh, what a year it was. Um, this is their port and wine cask. Now this one, I just want to make sure this is not. Oh no, that's not the one I have. Okay, this one's also a sample from Dunn. This is bottle number 3. This one right here. Now this color, it's a little bit light, which is surprising with it being port finished, but it is a little light. Let me see if I can find some info on the website of how long this was aged. And I did say finished. I apologize. It was probably aged in these casks exclusively. In bourbon, finishing is the most common thing to do to whiskey after when you're doing things like this. So I'm so used to saying finished. Although it does say, no, it just says matured. Okay, gotcha. All right, so this one, port and wine. It is a multi-cask adventure in aging. So let's see. Let's see what they say. While some of our single malt is matured in our classic ex-bourbon casks, another batch is aged in second fill ruby port barriques. Barriques? It must be a specific size of barrel. I put it in the chat. That's the word. Finally, the two are combined in red wine casks to complete their journey as a wine finished whiskey. So this one is considered finished. Um, I definitely had a bottle of this. This was probably the first Laphroaig I had ever had, and I think it's the one that sold me on Laphroaig in general. So I'm excited. This is 52% ABV. I haven't had this since 2020, and I definitely needed it then. Let's see. Let's see how it holds up now. Oh, on the nose, interesting, sweet, but it almost has a note of like wood shavings or like pencil shavings. I feel like I've heard that note before. I hope I'm not crazy, but it is like not the green wood, but more of like not sawdust exactly. I feel like pencil shavings are a unique note, like a smell, right? Like you sharpen a pencil and you like smell it. It's still a weird kid doing that stuff, but it does have notes of pencil shavings. Sweet though. It's definitely got like that honey thing going on that the last one had. Emily said, "I thought highballs were ginger ale. I think they can be made with anything. They can be made with like club soda as well, I believe. I don't really drink highballs very often. I don't know. It's not a drink of choice for me. But so maybe someone could better speak to that. But yeah, I don't buy much Japanese whiskey, which I know you can make with other whiskey too. But I do appreciate a Japanese whiskey cocktail. Oh, definitely ginger ale traditionally. Interesting, Joseph. I didn't know that. I just know that I've seen some made with club soda as well. So maybe I should try the ginger. I do love ginger ale. So I mean, one of my favorite like if I'm just at a bar and like I need a drink and I want to do a call drink, I'll do a Jameson ginger ale. That's like my go-to. Although at home I use Teeling because most of the time at home like Teeling is my bar Irish whiskey. Just the small batch. I like it more than Jameson, but usually at a restaurant you'll see Teeling and they're gonna charge you more than Jameson. So I always go to Jameson. But oh, there we go. Don says highballs are super popular in Japan, mainly some whiskey and club soda. So maybe it's just regional. Maybe like Japan is the one that I'm thinking of. It's like club soda and whiskey. Again, not my favorite flavor profile, but I know they're hugely popular. Sugar Kitty says a barrique is slightly larger than a bourbon barrel, but not a lot. Mostly made for wine and longer and narrower. Interesting. Okay, I have seen some like huge barrels, for wine specifically, but that doesn't sound like it. That sounds like it's closer to a bourbon barrel size. Interesting. Thank you, Sugar Kitty. I appreciate all y'all like doing the research. Like I obviously didn't do before the stream. By the way, I apologize for my lighting. It's like for some reason it's like glowing more than normal. Like I feel like this looks good, but then when I load that, it auto adjusts. And I tried to manually do it. Like I'll turn it back on again, but I feel like it looked worse. Let me try. But see, like it has like y'all see the lines going through now. I don't understand what's happening here. It's definitely something's acting up weird. Maybe it was a software update for my webcam software. So I'm gonna go back to how it was, but I just feel like it keeps getting really bright. Like look at that. That's ridiculous. Try to bring it down manually. Let's see how that looks. Let me know if that ends up looking worse. But it just was frustrating me that it kept going super bright. All right, I'll turn it like halfway. There we go. Sugar Kitty says ginger ale, lemonade, or lime juice. Huge in Asia. Devin Patel is here, and Matthew. Great, two new folks showing up at the same time. Good to see y'all. Hope you are doing well. We are 2 whiskeys in. We're going to our third one, which is the why did I forget? It's the 2021 port and wine cask. On the nose, pencil shavings, but in a very good way. All right, let's go for a taste. Cheers. Oh, that's sweet. That is wow. I mean the sherry or the wine just in general is super dominant on the flavor. It almost hides the peatiness. Like I feel like even if you didn't like peated whiskey, you would notice the sweetness of the wine cask first, which is probably I quickly grew a love for sherry finished or sherry matured peated Scotch. That's like my absolute favorite category. Either sherry or port or PX, like those finished cask strength scotches are my absolute favorites, which is why you can see why I love Laphroaig. This one may have started that obsession because, like I said, I got this in 2020. I definitely needed that bottle then. Yeah, man. It almost is creamy. Like, I know cream cherries, I think, but like it's got a creaminess to it that's like almost like a. I've given this note before, but not on a scotch. It kind of reminds me of those cowtails, those candy, or those like caramel. There's like caramel candies with the white centers. They're like individually wrapped. I don't know what they're called. That you usually get them on Christmas from your grandma. But the white cream in the middle of that, it has a sweet, specific sweet flavor to it. This has that, but it comes back in the finish with the peat a bit. Hmm. I will say that is very unique. I think just, I mean, I'm not going to rank these yet. I feel like I want to, but I feel like that's going to be a strong contender for first place as well because that was one that I fell in love with. So let's keep moving. We got 4 more years to do. Let's move to 2021, which was what I think a lot of people's favorite cask was the PX Sherry Cask. This is Pedro Jimenez Sherry. Let me get my right number 4. Oh yeah, this. Well, first of all, you tricked me, Don, because this is a darker bottle. I was like, wow, that's so dark. I just realized it's just a darker. It's an amber bottle rather than a clear one. But this one is wow, drastically darker. It's always hard for me to show the two colors. Are they literally just called caramel creams? Of course they are. So the lighter one is the one we just had, which was the port and wine cask, and this is the PX Sherry. And this one, I have such a small amount left. I'm glad to have a more chance to try it. I have been holding on to this since I got it because I love it so much. 58.9% ABV. Just really incredible, rich flavor. I'm so excited to revisit this one. Thank you, Don, for the opportunity because I'm saving just a little bit left of that bottle. All right, let's give it a nose. Again, this is the PX Sherry 2021. Oh boy. That is a rich, fruity, red fruit nose. Not even peaty in the slightest. I mean, maybe I'm becoming numb to peat because I've been drinking, 3 other whiskeys that were peated. But I don't get peat at all in the nose on that. Let me reset my palate real quick. I mean, it could just be because my room smells like peated whiskey. Have y'all noticed, like with Scotch, like if you open a peated whiskey, it like lingers. The smell lingers in the room. So maybe my nose is just adjusted to it. Yeah, but to me, this is just screaming like I almost want to say strawberries. Like it's a not like a sour, not like a raspberry or maybe a bit of cherry. I don't know. I really love the nose on this one. I can't wait to give it a try. Matthew says I've noticed that peated scotches get my heart rate going faster than other non-peated scotches. Some chemical equation answer to that probably, or you just get more excited about them. I mean, there's that too. Interesting. I've never, I've never really noticed a difference of how I feel after I drink them. I mean, I know it screws up my palate after because I can't go. It's weird to go from peated whiskey to like bourbon. Like it's a very drastic change. Don said I myself have become somewhat peat blind after several years. Yeah, I mean, definitely when I first tasted this, I was like, oh yeah, this is peat. But because I've drank so many back to back, I'm like looking beyond that and finding what's unique, which is what my goal was anyway. So like, yay, winning, I guess. By the way, if y'all are enjoying the stream, hit the thumbs up. We're about halfway through, and we're halfway through our flight. So if you enjoy it, definitely do that. And then leave a comment down below when the stream's over, which one was your favorite. Because YouTube loves the engagement. With the algorithm changing daily, it's always great to see that after the live stream as well. So if you want to come back at any point in the future, just drop your favorite in the comments below. Or if you're watching the replay right now, now's the perfect time. All right, I can't remember. Did I just taste that or did I just smell it? I don't know. I've been like raving about the smell. If I tasted it, let me taste it again. Mm. Wow. Wow, 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 wow. That's so good. What was the proof? It's high. 58.9. Yeah, you can tell. You can tell that's a jump up from the 52% of the 2020 release. That is mouth coating. Like it's coating your mouth, not with just the scotch itself, but that PX sherry. Like that's like that had to have been a really wet barrel because it's taken on so much of that sherry wine influence. Let me see what they say on the website. Maybe they can tell us. It's got to be first fill. I can't imagine it not being. Let's see, it's aged in X bourbon barrels, quarter cask, and PX hogsheads, crafted specially for friends of Laphroaig. So let's see, triple matured process, X bourbon barrels before transferred to quarter cask. The spirit then goes into PX casks, more precisely sherry hogsheads. So that's a different shape of barrel as well, but it is taken straight from those sherry casks and bottled. Hogshead, I'm looking at a picture of barrels. This actually, where's the other word? This doesn't have that other word on it that we just saw earlier. I was going to show you all this display, but I was hoping it kind of had all of them. Oh, it does. This one. Let me show you this. Let me share my screen real quick. This is helpful for me as well. Share screen. There we go. All right. Let me know if y'all can see this. I'll try to zoom in a bit. Just let me zoom. Let's see. All right. So here we go. So there's a typical barrel, which we associate like with bourbon barrels. There's the barrique. It's a little bit bigger. It's a little bit taller. You can see also more. It seems about the same dimensions. There's the quarter cask I was talking about. It's literally a quarter-sized barrel. Hogshead looks to be a bit wider. At least that's what I'm seeing here. Let's see. It says the barrique is slightly larger than hogshead with the long shape of a butt. That's funny. Which is common throughout the wine industry. Barriques are usually constructed from French oak, although some may be made from American oak. Okay, that's the barrique, and then here's the hogshead. After barrels, hogshead are the second most common type of cask used. Hogsheads are generally also made from American white oak and often built from staves originally taken from bourbon barrels. However, the larger size of hogshead makes them better suited for slightly longer periods of maturation. Hogsheads used to mature Scotch whiskey may previously have held other beverages and spirits, with sherry hogsheads being the most common. See? You learned something new. Cool. It's hard to see. I was hoping that image would be a little more obvious with like the different sizes. They're all just so subtly different, but you get the point there at least. Man, but this one, I mean, I can't say enough good things about it. But that's coming from someone that's absolutely obsessed with heavily sherried, peated Scotch whiskeys. I think I've said that before is like my favorite category of Scotch. Heavily sherried, peated, cask strength Scotch whiskeys, which Laphroaig masters here. I mean, Ardbeg does some really awesome ones too as well, but this is great. I will say side by side with the PX Sherry and the port wine cask, I might have a preference for the port and wine. As much as I love the PX, it tastes a little bit less dynamic, a little more, I don't want to say one note, but a little more simple, even though I love that note. I felt like the port and wine cask had some dynamicity. No, it was just some more dynamic flavor. I feel like it went a bit further, but we'll go back and rank it once we get through the end. Fred said, weird. I'd say bourbon hogshead are more common than sherry. Anywho, I love how mature Scotch. I love the way Scotch matures in bourbon. Hoagies? I guess that's slang for barrels. I don't know. Sugar Kitty's going to bed. Cheers. Thank you for tuning in. And Donnie, thank you for the link, for the thumbs up, and subscribe, and the bell button to be notified. I go live every Thursday, almost every Thursday. Same time, same place. Sometimes we do Scotch, sometimes we do bourbon, sometimes we do other spirits, sometimes we do non-alcoholic spirits. Depends on what we're in the mood for. So if y'all have suggestions for streams, please let me know. Or if you want to send me a flight like our good friend Don did, message me and I can get you a mailing address to send them to. That would be a lot of fun too. So dynamicity. Look, I tried. Bourbon neophytes in the room. Cheers. Good to see you. It's been a minute. Hope you are doing well, my friend. Good to see you. Thank you for stopping in. All right, let's move on to the next one. So I love that one, but I feel like the other one's edge ahead just a bit. All right, bottle number 6. This is also one that I bought. I don't have... Nope, never mind. I didn't buy this one. A friend shared this one with me. My initial impression of this one wasn't great, but I'm going to revisit it today and see if maybe it's changed over time. This one was kind of had mixed opinions, right? This is Warehouse 1, by the way. I didn't say that, but this is Warehouse 1. This is bottle number 6 right here. Now this one comes in at 52.9% ABV, so we're dropping back down just a little bit. Color-wise, this is the lightest I've ever seen. I mean, not that I've ever seen, but of tonight. The lightest one for sure. Just to compare it to that PX real quick. They're different levels, but you can see that PX is so dark compared to this Warehouse 1. Now this one is unique because... delay. Here we go. It's matured in their iconic warehouse, a skipping stone's throw from the Isle Coast. So this one's the closest warehouse they have to the water, which they say impacts the flavor and gives it a bit more of a maritime character. I love a maritime character. There are certain whiskeys that I go to when I want that. Laphroaig's not traditionally one that I think of when I think of maritime. I think of Lagavulin. I think of Talisker. To me, those have a maritime. I don't want to say saline, but like a maritime, salty sea air note that I just love so much. So I feel like this is their attempt at trying to make a whiskey that does that. But we'll see. I feel like it kind of missed the mark for me the first time I tried it, but I'm excited to go back to it. It says it's aged in first fill Maker's Mark bourbon barrels. That's also what's unique. They name that this is Maker's Mark barrels, which is a wheated bourbon, not as common for maturing Scotch in, at least from my knowledge. A lot of times Scotch is aged in like Jack Daniel's barrels, or the more common ones like I don't know about Jim Beam, but definitely Jack Daniel's. It's all based on like the parent companies. Like they're like, oh, we already have these barrels in America. Let's just ship them here and age in them. But Maker's Mark is definitely a unique one to see that. Yeah, so Warehouse One's rare four-story construction, fluctuating temperature, and exposure to rugged conditions tease out enigmatic flavors and a maritime quality. All right, well, that sounds exciting. Let's see how the nose is. Okay. Very subtle. I mean, I'm going to go back to the nose of my Old Pulteney. Great call, Matthew. Yes, that's also a great one. I haven't had that in a while. I need to revisit that bottle. It was actually one of the first ones that I got that note on that I loved. All right, so I'm going back to just regular Laphroaig 10 cask strength. I know it's a different glass, but I just wanted to set my palate on what to expect. I mean, this is so similar to the nose of the cask strength one, which is kind of maybe why it didn't impress me. I don't want to lie and say like, oh, I'm definitely getting more like saline or more like maritime notes. It does have. There is something extra there. I mean, okay, I'm gonna say it because I feel like this is a good analogy. It's like when you have a meal that you think is prepared very, very well, but you think it's just missing a little bit of salt. Then you add that pinch of salt and then it makes it perfect. That's kind of what I'm getting here. I think they smell so close, but I do think there's a hint of something extra on the Warehouse One. I mean, it's not like vinegar. I guess it's hard to say salty on the nose. That's weird, but it's like, I mean, it's a little bit more. I guess vinegar, maybe. I don't know. There's something extra for sure. All right, I'll stop rambling. Let's try it. Cheers. Hmm. I do like that. It almost has a oh, wow. Even though that one's 52.9%, that drink's pretty hot. It does have a I'm still leaning towards like vinegar, but like not in like a weird way. It's more of like, let me compare it to this. Have y'all had like some older like Redbreast or like Irish whiskey releases, like when it gets past like the 15 and 21 year mark? To me, there's a specific vegetal note. I think I've heard people describe it as like a not apricot, but like a well, it's like something really off-putting, like cabbage. I don't know. I can't remember exactly what people compared it to. It's been a while, but there's a certain note that I get on really old Irish whiskey that I'm not the hugest fan of. I get that note here. I definitely appreciate the punch of flavor. I just feel like it's not my favorite flavor, if that makes sense. Definitely has more flavor than the 10 cask strength. Okay, so Don's saying it's salty, almost too salty for me. Okay, it's so salty. I just felt like I was being influenced because it said maritime. I didn't want to like to be like, duh, like he's just saying that because it says that. But it does have a bit more of a flavor enhancer. It's like, salt is a flavor enhancer. It brings out the good flavors. This kind of feels like it has that element too. So maybe they're onto something with the maritime note. Maybe putting it closer to the ocean does enhance that. I do like it. I just wish that's what regular Laphroaig tasted like. It doesn't taste to me as interesting as these other Càirdeas releases, if that makes sense. Like, I like it. I just don't think it's as interesting as anything we've had so far. That's what I'll say about that one. It's good, but nothing too stand out. It just tastes like a really good expression. Reminds me of a really good single barrel of Laphroaig, is what I can imagine it as. Not exactly coastal brine, like the added salt. Like, see, that's kind of what I was saying. It doesn't have that sea air note. That's a note that I love with Talisker, Old Pulteney, Lagavulin. I love that note. Definitely isn't that. It's just the salt part of it. And so I'm right. All right, let's move on. We're what is that? 2022. We have two more to get through. Then we're gonna rank and say which one's my favorite. All right, so 2023. Now these two are ones that I had myself. Wait, now I'm confused because I have the white port in Madeira. Oh, you know what? I left it over there. All right, hold on. Well, this is the white port in Madeira is the 2023 one. So we'll start with that one. But I do have it. I just have it on the floor over there. I was digging through my bottles earlier, so let's open this one. This is the white port in Madeira. Let's see if we have some info. Now, white port was really trendy in 2023 because I mean, many of you know, High West did a very special release that was aged in white port, and everyone went crazy looking for it. I didn't have a chance to try it, but I did get a chance to buy this one. Don said the last one I purchased was Warehouse 1, and after that I haven't seen Càirdeas on the island. Interesting. Okay, I don't know necessarily how common it is here. They usually pop up and then they kind of disappear. Let me just look real quick. Because I know you traveled to the SoCal pretty recently. They do have the triple. They have the newest one here locally in Los Angeles, Don. If you're ever looking for it, K&L has it for 104. That's the one we're gonna try next, the 2024 one. It doesn't look like they have the 2023 in stock. Maybe you can get lucky at a different store. But yeah, I'm not seeing it locally here. Let me just search something real quick because I'd like to know too what's available. Let's see, 2023. Let's see what pops up. Out of stock, out of stock, out of stock. Yeah, that one's gonna be harder to find because it's been out for a while. But yeah, the latest release at least is available. Todd said this is the bottle I have. Love this bottle. Fred says it's only been the Cask Favorite since the yeah, that's the 2024 release. So we're trying. This is the white port is the 2023. Donner Pass said the 2015 Càirdeas that was 100% their own in-house floor malted and peated barley is sublime. Only had a sample thanks to Andrew Butler, but would love a bottle. Nice. Like I said, I wish we'd had the opportunity to try. I mean, I'm very grateful to taste all the way back to 2018, but they've been making Càirdeas since 2008. So, man, that would be a fun collection to just collect all the bottles of. That sounds really good though. I feel like there's other brands that do that. There's the 100% Isla barley that's from Port Charlotte. It's kind of a similar thing maybe, but man, that sounds really good. Our Laphroaig rep moved off island, and we've had very few since. Well, if maybe you need a new Laphroaig rep, I mean, I'm happy to jump in and help where I can. Although it would be kind of weird to have a bourbon guy lead that, but I appreciate Scotch for sure. All right, I poured myself a bit of a hefty pour on this one, so forgive me. It's my bottle, so. Let's go ahead and nose the 2023 White Port and Madeira. Now, let's see what they. Well, first of all, let me pull up the page so we can read a little bit about it. It says 52.3% ABV. Limited edition single malt is a combination of Madeira and white port casks. 3/4 of the whiskey is matured in second fill Madeira. Tasting notes. The final quarter has been finished in first fill port cask. So port is a very sweet. Well, the port I've had is a very sweet wine, dessert wine, but I don't know about white port. I've never had white port itself. I heard that adds a bit of a like an apple, like a pear apple kind of note to it. Not sure. We'll see. Have not had that. But yeah, Madeira. I've never had. I think I did have Madeira actually. When I did a stream a while back where I tasted a bunch of different fermented wine or fortified wine, and I did have Madeira. I don't remember if I liked it or not though. But anyways, enough about the wines. Let's get into the whiskey. Oh, that's a fun nose. I like that. It's like a toasted. Oh, it kind of reminds me of like a waffle, like a freshly toasted waffle. Not with the maple syrup, just the waffle dough batter, waffle batter. But you got a little extra toasty. And I think that's the Madeira. I think Madeira, it reminds me of what I remember, I think, the Madeira tasting like. It smells very rich. Like a little bit like a bake shop, kind of like I get on some bourbons. It's a lovely nose. It's not fruity at all. It's definitely richer, breadier. I don't know. It just smells heavy, which is funny because it's so light. Madeira has a wide range. It can be like white wine too, as white port is, but it can also be aged as sweet. Gotcha. I don't think the one that I had was sweet, so this does smell familiar. It's definitely like a it's like a nutty. It's a nutty quality. That's what it is. I was saying bread, but it's like a not like almond, and it's not sweet like amaretto, but there's definitely a nutty quality to it. All right, let's give it a taste. Cheers. Mmm, that's good too. That's I mean that reminds me of what I loved about the what was it, the wine, the port and wine, what was it, I forget, there's so many of these. That reminds me of what I loved about the port and wine cast. Okay, I was right. It's just complex. It has a lot of layers to it. That's a fun one to drink. Hazelnut. Okay, Fred, that may be it. That actually sounds like what I may have said when I did the Madeira stream. Definitely less so on the palate, a little bit on the finish, but definitely on the nose. Mm, that is really nice. What did I say the proof of that one was? 52.3. So it definitely doesn't drink too hot. Um, but that is really flavorful. That is definitely going to be in my top three, I would say. I really, really enjoy that one. That's so good. It's not, they say the crisp notes like from the white port. Like I think of like when they say crisp fruit, I think of like apples and pears. I'll say this. I don't know if a lot of you guys have had this, but it's one of my favorite on the shelf always scotches that I have. Compass Box Orchard House. It is I don't know if it's meant to be a fall whiskey or not. It's a year release. They release it all the time, year round. But it has a bit of that same pear kind of note to it. I will say there's a little bit. This does remind me a little bit of Orchard House, not nearly as distinct, but it has a little bit of that bright spring. I think of it as a springtime note, which is weird. Not floral, but just like new life, I guess, kind of note. That's really weird and specific, but get a little bit of that. Hmm. Yeah, that's just tastes amazing. I really love that one. All right, we got one more. I left it over here. That is the 10-year. See, I grabbed this one. This was the 10-year regular cask. The bottles are very similar. Let me grab it real quick. That's the 10-year sherry. Well, where is it? Where did I put it? Now I'm confused. There's a 10-year sherry. I swear I had it. Everybody drink while I'm standing up. I swear I had it. Oh, different location. I remember now. I forgot this was a recent pickup, so I had it in the box. Sorry, I almost freaked out. I was like, I know I have it. Like I bought it recently. All right, here it is. This is the Càirdeas Cask Favorites. This is the 2024 release. We'll get a little bit into that. This one does have an age statement. It's 10 years. So the other ones aren't age dated, which is interesting. So let's pull this one up. This is the, like I said, where is it? Did I close the page? I might have closed the page. 1 second. That's just showing me the 2023. There we go, 2024. Found it. The 2024 Càirdeas limited edition is a 10-year-old Laphroaig with a bold combination of flavors from casks of two popular previous releases. 2019's Triple Wood, which we just had, and 2021's PX. So they combined the same cask, not the same whiskey. They didn't take that old whiskey and mix it. They just used the same type of cask. They followed the same procedure. Bottled at strength of 52.4% ABV. Let's see what else we have here. Oh, it doesn't. Oh, here we go. It doesn't really just say. It just says it just with casks from two well-loved Càirdeas releases. So it doesn't give you details on like what they actually did, but they definitely was inspired by the triple cask and PX. And y'all know what that means, right? Y'all know I gotta do my own blend to see if I can beat this one because I have both of those in front of me. But first, we're gonna try this. This is the newest release, 2024. I'm excited to see what 2025 is gonna be. I mean, again, these always impress me. Even the one that wasn't my favorite, the Warehouse one, it's delicious pour. So I will never pass up the opportunity to buy that. Now, this one was pricier. This 2024 one, I saw it for 104 now, but when it first came out, it was definitely 120. So, you know, it's up there in price, but I've loved it so much traditionally, I'm okay to pay that because I know it's like a once a year release. And it's cast strength. Like, this one was 10 years old. Like, it's like, I get it, but it's also like, oof, that hurts the bank a little bit. Let's see. More like walnut on Madeira. Okay, like I said, I'm just guessing. I cannot argue either way. I know I have a bottle I can't find. I know, and I just remembered, and I was like freaking out. I was like, all my Laphroaigs are here, but then I realized I did buy that one recently, and that shelf only goes 4 bottles deep, and I have 4 bottles now. Okay, so maybe I can put it over there now. We're done. What sort of Madeira have you found? Oh, y'all talking to Emily. Interesting. Okay, color wise, this one's dark, just like the PX cask. It's a very similar color to that one. So this is using, so this one's interesting. So remember, triple wood was quarter cask, ex bourbon cask, and shoot, I forget. Wait, I just read this. I know, but I forget what the 3 casks were. Triple cask. Someone help me. What was the triple cask? That's the white port. I literally have every page open except that one. Let me go back. Here we go. Triple. That was 2019. Triple wood. Okay. Ex bourbon, quarter cask, and then European oak, which held Oloroso sherry. There we go. So it's that plus PX Sherry Casks. So it's a combo. It's technically 4 wood cask. I will say it has a bit of that green wood note. Was triple wood the one that I got that on? That would be interesting. Let's see. Triple wood was bottle number 5, which was this one. I'm pretty sure this is the one that I said I got that green wood note on, because I get that. It's back on this one. It must be that quarter cask that's doing that. It's like, it's not a bad note per se, but it's comparatively to some of these like heavily wine casks, it's not pleasing me the same way on the nose. Don said, pre-COVID, one of our local stores hosted a Laphroaig Cairdeas dinner. 5-course meals paired with Laphroaig for $80, and you got an entire bottle of Cairdeas to take home. That is awesome. I've done a couple of similar things with brands. I got invited by the folks at who was it? Talisker. Yeah, because Talisker let me that ridiculously expensive $6,000 bottle of Talisker. It was a hosted dinner, but they also sent us home with a bottle of Talisker 10, the standard release. But it was still a lot of fun. It was, for me, they invited me like as an influencer, which never happens, by the way. Mainly because there's rarely events that are like press events that happen in Los Angeles. They almost always happen in, but with bourbon, obviously they happen in Kentucky. With Scotch, they happen other places. So it's really hard to get invited to things living in Los Angeles like that. But I did have something similar. That sounds amazing though, Don. All right, let's go for a taste. Cheers. Mm. I do like that on the palate. I think I was a little thrown off by the nose. It reminded me of what I didn't like about the triple wood, but balanced with the sweetness of the PX, I see what they're doing here. They're like, not only are they aging it older because it's a 10-year Laphroaig, but they're introducing a sweetness to that oak specific finish that I think complements it. It actually does. I think it does benefit it a bit. Would I say this is one of my favorite ones? I don't know. I like it. I do like it, but I feel like some of these that I visited tonight, I don't think they blow it away, but they do impress me a bit more. This one almost has a ash-like quality to it. Like, it's smoky. I mean, I think, weirdly enough, this one is the most peated tasting than any of these so far. And that could be because it's 10 years old. To me, the peat's coming through more on this one than the others. It's good. I mean, I'm glad I bought it. I just think some of the other ones have impressed me a bit more. All right, so now time to pick my favorites. Let me know in the chat if you've been holding back what your favorite is. Let me know in the chat. I know Don was holding his back. Let me know. But I'm gonna rank these. I'm not gonna do the full ranking. That I'm too drunk to do that. Um, I mean, I had 8 pours of whiskey tonight, so they're small pours, but it was still a lot. So let me decide which ones are my favorite. Don said some of my samples are definitely not fresh cracks. Yeah, no, totally. Neither are mine. The Fino was the interesting one. Unlike anything I had tasted. I'm doing a rapid fire. Here we go. Triple wood. I like the palate way better than the nose. I do like that a lot. The nose of triple wood just it didn't impress me, but the palate was really good. Number 3, which is the port and wine. Oh yeah, I love that one. That's so good. I don't know I don't know if that one can be beat, honestly. I'm gonna do a quick palate rinse. PX Sherry, which I know I love. Beautiful flavor. Still feel like it is that same one note though. That's the only thing that's gonna dock some points there. Warehouse 1, which is really good, but it just tastes like an elevated version of regular Laphroaig. I like it. I do like it, but I don't think it would be my top 3. The white port and Madeira. Oh wow, that nose. It's still reading bready. When I first nosed this to me, I got that bread note. I went back to it. I know we kind of transitioned talking about nutty, like walnuts or hazelnuts, but to me it's still like a bit of a burnt waffle. So let me go for a taste again. That's nice. That's really nice too. Oh man, this is narrowing down to a top 3 is gonna be tough. And lastly, the cask favorites from this year or last year. It's good, but I don't think it improves on either of them. I actually prefer the original version is better than the combined. But I'll try to do my own blend in a moment. But favorites, I got my top 3. I don't know the order of them yet. 1 second. I can't let y'all see. Man, every time I try that one, it really impresses me. Don said his favorites are the triple wood and the port wine. Gotcha. Port and wine. Cliffy's gonna sleep well tonight. I am. I got one more day. I mean, we're back in the office 5 days a week now, and we started 2 weeks ago, but then on Tuesday was when all the fires broke out, and thankfully, they didn't make us come into the office until that was kind of not that it's settled yet. It's still an ongoing disaster, but they let us focus and remain home. If people need to evacuate, they could. So I've been working remote the past couple of weeks because I was really close to one of the fires when it first started. Again, the wind blew in a different direction, but it was definitely scary at first. But yeah, so this is the first week we're starting the 5 days a week. Technically, it's not 5 because we had MLK Day on Monday. So, but it's still starting to hit me hard. So, gotta go into the office on a Friday. That's not fun. Fortunately, they have Pokeballs, and they've been doing like Pokeballs on Thursdays and Fridays only lately, and I think that's because that's the times that people are in the office the least. Previously, pre 5 days a week, and they're really good. It's actually it's very fresh. Surprisingly, I always see the truck delivering it, and I think they only deliver a small amount for just those couple of days. I feel like it's gonna sell out quick now that everyone's in the office. Though I'm gonna have to get that tomorrow. They have both tuna and salmon, but it's always really nice. No, I wouldn't say not like nice is like like I'm talking about nice in terms of like better than like grocery store quality. Like it's not like a fancy restaurant version, but I mean I'm only paying $12 for it, so it's nice for what it is. All right, I have my top 3 and the order of the top 3. We ready for this? My number 3, my third place, has to go to the Got a little confused here. Hold on. There we go. Okay. I had the bottle switched. My third place has to go to the White Port and Madeira. This was the one I got the bready note on. To me, it's a really rich flavor, and it's so unique, so toasty. It tastes like a great holiday pour. Really, really enjoy this White Port and Madeira. My second place, this was a tough one actually. Surprisingly, second place was tougher than first place, or tougher than third place. Mm. Okay, I'll do my top four. Fourth place is the Triple Wood. I really like the Triple Wood, but it doesn't quite make my top three. So Triple Wood is fourth place. Third place is White Port Madeira. Second place is actually the PX Sherry. Even though I do feel like it is a very simple one note, it is a delicious one note. It's exactly what I look for in a bottle of cask strength peated Scotch, sherry finished. Which means my first place, my top Laphroaig cask strength between 2018 and 2024, goes to number 3, which was the Port and Wine Cask. That was the one that, I think that was one of the ones that Don said was his favorite as well. Man, that one just, every time I go back to it, it kind of like makes me smile a bit. It's so flavorful, so interesting, so unique, and I love it a lot. So that's my top 10, my top 3, 4. I don't want to say least favorite. The one that let me down the most was the Warehouse one, only because it didn't feel like it was as unique as all these other bottles. It felt like it was like, I don't know, it just felt like it wasn't trying hard enough, you know what I'm saying? It's like they're like, oh shit, we have to do a Laphroaig Cairdeas. We have to do a Laphroaig Cairdeas this year. Oh no, we don't have anything. Oh, let's just grab some barrels from Warehouse 1 and call it Càirdeas. I don't know, that's just my personal feeling. Donnie said I cut out for him. Number 1 for me was the Port and Wine Cask from 2020. That was my number 1. Yeah, Warehouse 1 was fine, but that was like my least favorite. Now, lastly, before I go, I'm going to try to combine my PX with my Triple Wood and see if I can recreate the flavor of the Cask Favorites. So right now it's about 50-50, mixing them together. Do a little bit of a swirl here. Now it's very little in the glass here. We're going to see if mixing the actual releases from those years equal what they were trying to do with the 2024. So let's try the blend first. Again, this is the PX Casks mixed with the Triple Wood. Pretty damn good on the nose. Let's give it a taste. That's still really good. I don't know if it's better than the sum of its parts. Like, I don't feel like the parts themselves are probably better. But it tastes, I like the proof on that. Okay, let's try again. Let's try the Cask Favorites from this year. I don't think it compares. I think doing the blend of the original batches is better. One, this drink's low proof, while these other ones were higher proof releases, so it's gone down a little bit in proof, mellowed out a bit. Now again, this is just rudimentary, mixing things together. But I think my blend is better than their blend. Like, no offense, but I have the actual bottles. They of course don't. They're just trying to recreate it. So I think they know what the favorites are, and they tried their best to recreate it. I don't think they quite nailed it, but my blend is really good. But thank you all so much for watching. This has been a fun stream. It's very different than what we've done lately. If you liked it, please don't forget to hit the thumbs up, whether you're on your phone, your TV, your computer. It does help out the channel a ton. Make sure to subscribe. I'm here again most at the same time. And we do our after party for Patreon right after that, which I'm about to head over there now, so don't forget. Cheers. I will see you guys next week. I don't know exactly what we're going to do next week, but I'll think of it. I'm sure I'll figure it out. I got a full week to think about it. So, plus lots of time in the office to sit and ponder while I sit at my desk. Boo. All right, cheers, y'all. See y'all next week. And until then, this has been Bourbon Bites Whiskey Reviews with an 80s twist. Make sure to tune into our monthly movie night in February. We're going to do a rom-com/romance movie. All right, cheers. Good night, everyone. Bye.